Welcome back to another video of Life of Ari. Today we're going to be going through a mix session. It's a track for a UAE based record label which is called Dyno Records, which also happens to be my record label. So sorry for the clickbait. I'm going to walk you through a mix session today, and the track is called Your Eyes by Clint Maximus, and it's my official remix. So I'm going to show you the things that I do, and yeah, just walk you through the entire process, and hopefully it will help you, especially if you're a beginner or just starting your mix journey. I think it'll be very helpful, especially if you're in the electronic music scene. We'll be doing more videos with rock, metal, so we're not just sticking to electronic music. But yeah, this is what we're starting off with, and yeah, enjoy the video and hope it helps. Thank you. Hey guys, so welcome to the mix session. This is the track, Clint Maximus, Your Eyes, remixed by myself, Ari. So I've already prepared the mix. I've just bypassed the stuff that I've added for now. So I'll take you step by step and show you what I've done. Just so the video doesn't get way too long. I don't want to take too much of your time as well. So this is it, and let's start. I just need to look in your eyes. 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 I just need your eyes. I just need to look in. All right, that's a quick sneak peek of the track. So before we start anything, what I like to do is I like to label the sections of the track. So in this case, intro, breakdown, chorus, outro. Very simple, right? So the first thing I do is obviously the markers, and I do some master bus automation. As you can see, till the first chorus, everything is down by 2 dB. Chorus comes in 2 dBs louder, and then drop it down again, so the next chorus hits harder. So this is the first thing that I do. That's like a short way of ensuring that your chorus punches harder, right? So for now, ignore these bus tracks. I'll explain them a bit later. The first thing I do is I gain stage, right? So I like to keep, as everyone, I like to keep my mix hovering at -6 approximately. Yeah, so just so we don't overload the plugins, we don't overload the mix bus, so we just stay, with clean audio. So I do gain staging for every track, after I've balanced out the mix, and I usually do the balances while I'm producing. Then yeah, I'll fine tune them at the mix stage as well. But I like to produce my tracks in a way where everything is done and set in the production session. So I have all the sounds that I need. I know how I want my track to sound by the time I'm finished making the initial production of the track. So I don't want to depend on the mix stage or the mastering stage. So that's why I have a lot of layers, a lot of tracks. So let's play the chorus section, and let me play you the drums. So these are the drums. Right, you might feel like there are a lot of hats and tops, but they all just complement each other and add more energy. It's not like out of rhythm, or it doesn't sound like a total mess. For this type of track, I like these sort of sounds and layers. So then we have our bass tracks. So we've got an arpeggiated bass, we have a legato bass, 3 layers, general legato, which covers the most of the frequency spectrum. Then we've got a sub, then we've got a drive, like a mid-range higher frequency, and then we've got a bass fills. Again, this is just a rhythmic element. So all together, the drums and the bass. Right, then we got a bunch of synths in here. So and I've done most of my filter automations, delay automations in the production stage, filter, EQ, everything. Again, because I don't want to rely on the mix stage. Mix stage is just for me about EQ, compression, balancing, glooming, mix bus automations, stuff like that. That's how I work, at least. Then we got some pads in here. So this particular pad here is a sample from the original track. And then we've got the vocals, which are sampled from the original track, and then we've got a bunch of sound effects. So that's our session there. Alright, so let's look at the chorus section, right? And let's start where this comes in. So the first thing that I've done after gain staging is create buses, right? So I create a kick bus, claps and snares, tops for all the tops. We've got a drum bus. A drum bus, although, goes into a drum and bass bus. Similarly, the bass bus also goes to a bass. Sorry, the bass tracks go to a bass bus, and then that goes into a drum and bass, which together goes to our mix bus. Why do I have a mix bus? Because in the situation where I'm using a reference mix, these plugins do not affect my reference mix, and also just gives me more control over the tracks. Then all my synths go out to a synth bus, which goes out to an instrument bus. Similarly with the pads, pads go out to a pad bus, and that goes out to an instrument bus. Vocals go out to a vocal bus, that goes out to the mix bus. And also instrument bus and drum and bass bus go out to the mix bus. And SFX, sound effects, go to mix bus as well. And yeah, then I just have a couple of effect tracks. We'll get to that later. Alright, so the first thing after all of that, my kick bus, right? I want to process my kick. So in context with the mix, so the first thing that I did with the kick was I did some EQ automation, right? So just to show you what I've done. So basically I'm cutting off the lows. When it comes to the breaks, intros, except the chorus section, everywhere else the bass is, the kicks are not as punchy as they should be. Again, that's done for contrast. So when the chorus section hits, your kick comes in with the highest energy. Alright, so that's the first step. So the next thing I've done is I opened up a VMR. I work with Slate plugins a lot, and I'll show you what I've done. So in solo, was my bass before. So some EQ, I like to add this pull tech style EQ as well, and I use this preset kick trick fat, and then just more gain staging and some compression just to get a tighter, more punchy kick. And yeah, I've removed some 400 from there. There is some level change, but after I did the mix I realized I need more levels, so initially I had this trimmed down, then I brought it back up, so there's a bit of a level difference. And then I added a limiter. I just want to shave off some peaks. I don't want to do too much gain reduction, just a bit. So like -3, -0.3, 0.2, yeah, that's a good amount, right? So that's our kick. So then we go to the snares and claps, and again, first thing I've done is add a VMR, some top end, some 5K, and some 100 to give a bit more body, and then some compression. So without it, it's a bit lifeless, right? And also on this particular clap, I've given it a bit more transient and reduce the sustain. So let's just listen to that. Again, this was done in context with the mix, so I just want that transient to stick out more than the sustain of the clap. And the same, and then some limiting just to shave off any excessive peaks. Right, so now with the tops, again VMR, my trusted friend. So before and after, again just tightening up the tops a bit, just a bit of compression, slow attack, a bit more transient, a bit more top end. I cut off some mud from there, and then some compression. Cool. So those were the tops. Oh, sorry. Then what I've done is add an inflator. I love this plugin. I don't know what it does. It's a bit of saturation. It's a bit of it adds a bit of sweetness and tightness. So I love adding this to the tops and my mix bus as well. You got to make sure the effect is in full and you're clipping a little bit, so it adds some saturation. And then just another limiter. And finally, all the drums together. So first things, VMR. Just added some top, removed some 400, and that was it. And just cut off a little 30 Hertz. And then just added some compression to glue it all together. And that's it for the drums. And let's move to the bass. So the individual bass tracks, I haven't done anything. And yeah, just to show you, like I've committed all the MIDI tracks, so all my bass and all my synth tracks are committed. I only use samples for the drums and sound effects. So anyway, let's have a look at the bass. So these were the sounds. I crafted the sounds, like I said, in the production process. So for example, this track, I removed some of the low end because I wanted to be more mid-range. And also, not to forget, while I did the gain staging, so I used this plugin EQ one-band equalizer from Pro Tools. I also remove frequencies that I don't need from tracks. So say for the tops, I remove 400, sorry, the hats 400 from the tops, 80 from the snares, 80 as well from the bass. Not a lot, depending from track to track. Some tracks 100, some tracks 80. This is the filler bass. The synths for 100, pads 80. So just to create room for the kick and the bass to breathe, right? So anyway, I've done the same, all of these during the production process as well for the bass. So for example, this drive bass was EQ'd out while I was producing, right? Sub bass, all the highs were taken out. So right here on the channels, there's nothing going on, just on these channels, basically on the group channels. So the first thing I've done is a low shelf at 30 Hertz and just remove some mud at 200. Next thing, I've added this infinity bass because I felt like there was something missing. So with that, just gives a bit more beefiness and low-end harmonics to the bass. But in doing that, I realized that it was bringing up one frequency up in particular. So the first two notes that play in the chord progression, I mean the tonic, I take the second harmonic and I boost those. So those first two notes sound a bit more richer. It's very subtle, but yeah, might need trained ears for that, but yeah, anyway, maybe it was unnecessary, but again, this was my workflow at the time. Alright, so then followed by another VMR, just an LA2A style compressor, just gluing everything together, and then we have some limiting, just again shaving off some extreme peaks. So the drum and bass together now. And the only processing on this mix bus is this compressor right here, the FGMU. It gives it a wonderful sound. And I'm just doing 1 dB of gain reduction here. And I'm adding like 0.8 dB as well. Alright, so time for the synths. There's a lot of stuff done on the channels, auto pan, transient shaping, delays, reverbs, EQ automations. These were all done during the production process, so I'm not going to go through that. I'll just show you what I did while I mix. So these are all the synths. So again, first thing, air EQ, and I'm working on mid-side mode. So first thing I do is I shave off the low end from the sides. Anything below 100 Hz goes for the sides. And for the sides, again, I boost 2K and 5K just to increase the width of the synths and you hear them a bit better. Just more presence and followed by another VMR, adding a bit more top end on the SSL channel strip EQ, and I'm cutting out 250 Hertz and then some compression. I'm going with a slow compression here. Again, just gluing. I'm not doing a lot because I wanted to have a bit more dynamics, because the synths are almost like a lead instrument. The vocals are very minimal here, so yeah. Alright, similar thing with the pads. Just increase the width over here. And then followed by a VMR. Just add more top end on this mix bus EQ. Add some 600, remove some mud. Transy, and then just some glue on the LA2A. And finally, all the instruments go out to the instrument bus, and we just glue everything here. It's not a very slow attack, it's not very fast, it's almost halfway. I just want to tame some of the transient, not all of it, but I do want the initial transient to cut through, right? And relatively fast attack. Alright. So with all the instruments and the drums and bass, nice and glued, nice and tight. Vocals I've not done a lot. Let's go to a section where there is a bit of vocals playing. Okay, so maybe here. I just need to look in your eyes. Because this has been sampled from Clint's track, and Clint has resampled this from something else, I suppose. So all I've done is add some top end. I just need to look in your a lot of 10K, a lot of 3K, some LA2SL compression, and just removed, there was a bit of that chesty sort of voice. I just need to look in your eyes. In the mix it was making a bit more sense. I just need to look in your eyes. I just need to look in your eyes. I just need to look in your eyes. And then I added a doubler to the vocals just to increase their width, and I just need to look in your eyes. I just need to look in your a bit wider, a bit more fuller. And next we go to the sound effects. I literally have not done anything other than just some glue. So yeah, so that's that. Now going to some automations here. So I like to do some mix bus automations, right? So number one, what I've done is an EQ automation. So I have this equalizer as the first plugin on my mix bus. So similar to what you would do on a DJ console, where you cut out the lows during the build up, so your drop sounds bigger. So that was done in the first, the two breakdown sections. Then I have a wash verb. What I call a wash verb is basically I send this signal, this reverb signal to the mix bus. again, just for the breakdowns, similar to what you would do on a DJ console as well during the build-up. So for example, if we want to just listen to the effect, I'll just put it on pre-fader and then I'll mute the mix bus. So that's basically the effect. This comes in nice because the wetness of the reverb makes it sound washy and very gluey, and when the chorus comes in, it's nice and transient and dry. So it's a nice contrast. And similar, I did the same with the reverb. Added a 1/8 note dotted delay. Same for the breakdowns, just to add more washiness to it. So yeah, that's the first bit of automation for the mix bus processing. And then you have the master as well, the level automation. And what else have I done? On the mix bus, I added a VMR, again just cutting a bit of mids, high mids, 2K. That's it. And then just a low cut at 32 Hertz. Added a mix bus compressor. This basically just glues the whole mix together. Then I added the inflator again here, full effect, trying to make sure I'm peaking at just -6. This makes it sound sweeter. I don't know what it does, but it's amazing. And finally, some tape emulation. I like to hit the needle between 5 to -5 to 0. And this particular plugin, I need to make sure that the bass alignment is at -3 as well. Otherwise it adds more low end, which we don't need. We have a good low end already. So yeah, that's all the processing. That's all that I've done. This is probably not going to be my final mix because I'm going to check on the studio speakers and different sources. I might tweak a few things here and there, but this is my process. This is what I do, and this is what I've done for this track. Let me know if any of this was helpful for you. You can apply it to your mixes as well, but my biggest advice would be make sure you have it right in the production stage with all your sounds. Just so the mix process becomes much more easier. You know, you don't have to spend hours or days just mixing a track. And like I said, I don't believe in the concept of fix it in the mix. So as you can see, it didn't take me much time to do this, and yeah, you can apply some of these concepts to your productions as well, and hopefully they come in handy and yeah, make your mixes sound a bit better. Let me know if you want me to do a mastering video for this. Again, the mastering is going to be very simple, just a bit of polish and leveling. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Another thing that I like to do, I'm not going to do it for this video, is that I like to add a clipper to all my tracks. So the group sense, basically the buses, just so I can shave off some of those peaks and gain more level in the mastering stage. It's very simple. Just I try to just take off 1 dB off of every track, and that's it. And yeah, So that was the video. I hope you guys liked it. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you want to see the mastering video. Maybe we can do that as the next one for next week. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you have watched this till the end, let me know in the comments if you want to see anything else, any other demonstrations. We'll be doing rock, metal tracks as well. And yeah, thank you for watching. See you for the next video. Bye. I just need